Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Ego Upgrade. In this episode, I'm going to be showing you my 5 tips on how to deal with social anxiety. And if you haven't already, you should go ahead and check out my previous video, and that also relates to this topic. All right, let's get to it. So my first tip to deal with social anxiety is to get a makeover. So getting a makeover consists of wearing clothes that complement your body style or your body type, or getting a haircut, or just getting a fresh shave. So being a person who's experienced social anxiety, mostly in high school, I used to be a little overweight. I wore like clothes that were too big for me. I let my hair grow so long to like an afro, and I didn't take care of it at all. I never put shampoo. I would put hairspray in it just to keep the shape in, but I would leave it in overnight and my hair would smell, and at that point, I didn't really feel attractive. I didn't get much attention because of the way I looked, so that also made me really insecure about my appearance. And it also added on to my social anxiety because I didn't feel like I had anything to offer someone else, or I didn't feel attractive to anyone, so I didn't want to approach anybody, and I really kept to myself because of that. So one day I decided to cut off all my hair. I had a clean shave, a lineup. I started shaving my face. I was wearing more clothes that fit closer to my body, and it actually like shaped the way I looked. After that, I got more looks. Everybody was trying to talk to me more because my face showed more. I had a glow about me, and I felt like I was a new person. So I felt like it was very important once I just not actually cutting off the hair, but structuring it, making it look clean, and cleaning up my appearance. It gave me a little bit of confidence to actually talk to other people, and I received that energy right back. So also, due to having a haircut, you're seen socially as someone who is clean and orderly, and people are attracted to these traits. So in conclusion, I felt good about myself, and that attracted other people who felt good about themselves. So getting a makeover won't cure your social anxiety, but it will give you that spark of confidence that will help you go out to social gatherings, which leads to my tip number 2. So now that you made yourself presentable to society, you're going to go ahead and practice tip number 2, which is to go out to a social gathering, which consists of going to a club, going to a show, going to a party or arcade, or etc. As long as you're among other people around you. So to face social anxiety, you have to face it head on, but the most successful way to face it is to go in with a plan. And my plan consists of preventing 2 factors from happening once you're out at a social gathering. The first factor is setting an unrealistic goal. These goals will be too unrealistic to achieve, and it will actually prevent you from wanting to go out again. So an example of setting an unrealistic goal is going out to a club or a party and expecting to get a person's number, or expecting to be the life of the party. Because when you actually go out to that event and it doesn't happen, it's going to discourage you, and you're not going to want to go out anymore to a social gathering. The second factor is being a perfectionist. By being a perfectionist, you overthink your goal, and it causes you to procrastinate because you rely on timing for following through with your actions. Story time. So a few years ago, I had this idea that I wanted to create a YouTube channel and talk about the body and the mind. I would just keep on saying that I needed expensive camera, I needed a nice studio, I needed a green screen and a microphone, and because I set those things in play, I was a perfectionist. I felt like I needed all of those pieces of equipment to actually start a YouTube channel. So having that high expectation of me needing these sets of equipment, it prevented me from following through with my dream. And I actually started the YouTube channel without a camera and without a microphone. I just had my MacBook for my first episode. So basically what I did was just create this unrealistic barrier that prevented me from following through with one of my actions. For my YouTube channel, I could have assumed that I was going to be too boring or too awkward or just too shy to talk to a camera. And all of these overthinking patterns, it prevented me from creating the channel a few years ago. Those same thoughts can prevent you from going out because of all the embarrassing possibilities that are weighing you down. Lastly, feel uncomfortable, because that's when you know that you're actually learning something. Unfamiliar situations can be hard, but that's why it's good to have a support group, whether it's a friend or a family member. And if you are daring to go out alone, just pat yourself on the back for even going out in the first place. Once you're physically out at a social gathering, eventually what you want to work on next is having small talk, whether it's just saying hi, how's your day, or maybe just replying to a conversation that someone was having around you. Leading to number 3 is respect your experiences. Your experiences mold you into the person you are today. Life is no easy journey, so respect the failures and mistakes that made you search out for help because of your willingness to grow. Your experience becomes the battle scars and stories for conversations and tales of empathy. Anyone can relate to your experience because everyone has failed at some point in their life. My favorite stories to tell at a social gathering are ones of mistakes that I made, which was mostly about getting drunk. Telling embarrassing stories to other people, it puts their guard down and it makes them open up themselves because you were so freely to open up yourself first. Opening up yourself first, it keeps a positive mood going. All experiences can be used to your advantage, but if you're locked in your room, it hinders you from experiencing the wonders of the outside world, which is the reason for my next tip. Tip number 4, take a break from the internet. So the more time spent on the internet, the more you disconnect from the world. If not used properly, it can pull you into isolation. I used to be addicted to World of Warcraft, which is an MMORPG, massively multiplayer online role-playing game. I dedicated my social life to this game, and at the time I was a janitor for 3 years, but online I was a level 90 orc. I know, right? I had no intention on bettering myself as long as I could support my social status online. I rejected invitations to parties and job opportunities because if I wasted my time on the outside world, then I'd fall behind on the video game. So for 3 years, instead of upgrading my ego in reality, I wasted 3 years upgrading my social life on an online video game. But once I took that break from World of Warcraft and I quit completely, I started hanging out with more friends and I started socializing more and I started gaining more skills to communication. I actually started experiencing the joys of interacting and getting actual human contact. The internet is a tool. We use it to better our social status, but if consumed by it, we put our social status on standby. My last tip, number 5, is to see a therapist. I myself am not a licensed therapist. I have family members and friends who've seen therapists, and they describe to me nothing but the best experiences that they've had. Therapists are moderators of our conscious minds, so they can 1, help us realize what the social anxiety stems from, 2, find solutions to cope with traumatic events, or 3, figure out if the problem is deeper than social anxiety. It's recommended that everyone see a therapist. Not because we think we have a mental issue, but because things we've experienced in our life make us who we are. And if we can identify what we need to change or improve on, then we can become a stronger version of ourselves. Lastly, I do plan on seeing a therapist myself, and there are plenty of other resources to see a therapist. I will leave a link below so you can check out the resources that I have. There's also an app called Talkspace, which is an online therapy session that you can have. So if you're too afraid to go out and seek a therapist at an office, you can go ahead and search online for therapy. Alright, thank you once again. So this concludes my video for my 5 tips that I shared with you to deal with social anxiety. I still suffer from some social anxiety, but the fact that I'm trying to learn and improve on it and going out and practicing, that's the only way you're going to face it head on. I encourage anyone with social anxiety to try out my tips, and if you have any questions, you can go ahead and ask me at any time and I can try to figure out your situation. So if you enjoyed the video, go ahead and like and subscribe and leave any questions in the comment sections. Peace.